What's up? Welcome to the TYCAST episode 39. How's it going? I am Ty. I am your host this evening. Welcome everyone new and old, anyone that's listening after the fact, everyone live in the chat. We're on Twitch and YouTube on my Tynology gaming channel right now. So thank you for stopping by. It's Thursday, January 27th. Where's my document that I'm supposed to be looking at for all of my details of what we're supposed to go over tonight? January 27th, episode 39, live on Twitch, YouTube. You can listen or watch on Spotify now, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Leave a review. Let's get some more eyes and ears on the TYCAST. A reminder, the video game book club is still going on. It's still Hollow Knight. We are all suffering together with it if you have chosen to accept the challenge. I'm about 4 hours in right now, which I know is like 1/6 of the way or something. Play it. It's February 17th is the book club episode for Hollow Knight. So get on it if you haven't. And if you have a comment or question for the panel, go to it's tynology.com/comment, and I'll read them at the end. So thank you. With that, let's introduce the panel. We have a big one. We got 8 of us. So where are you guys at? I'm always asking where you guys at. Like, it's right here. Oh, wait, we have floating objects on the screen. I don't know where those came from. There we go. All right, Russ at Cryo. Sky. You're anonymous. Russ at Cryo Weasel. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How about you?
Doing good as always. It's good to have you. Thanks for joining tonight. Sky. No Sky at Discard. It's been a few weeks, or months maybe. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been since what? Since the convention?
Was that the last time that you were on? Wow.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I'm glad to be back though.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Always feels good.
Thank you for joining us. Keezus at Keezus _. How's it going, man? How you been?
I'm good. Good.
Is that an Arceus background you got going?
It is.
Nice.
It is. He peeped. Someone's here.
Nice. How you been?
I've been good. Usually I'm only on the video game things nowadays, but I was like, I have to hit this one up since there's a sort of open world game coming out.
Yeah. Are you talking about Arceus?
I'm talking about Arceus.
Okay, that's what I thought. Max at Monado Max.
I thought that was a Breath of the Wild background there.
it looks like it, doesn't it? That's where they get you.
Yeah, that's
Death Mountain back there.
That's Hyrule Castle in disguised as a mountain with Ganon above it. Max at Monado Max. What's up, man? How you doing?
Nothing much. I unfortunately got caught at Best Buy stealing another poster.
No.
I actually got caught this time. So
did you?
I did get caught. I was walking out with the Pokemon Legends poster. It's like, sir, what do you think you're doing? Turn around. I'm like, oh crap, this is it. It's the end of Monado Max.
The end of your crime spree.
You gotta at least wait until it's out, Max.
I felt like enough promotion was done. I felt like I could walk out with the poster. So,
So is that why you said you're going to the GameStop release? Not the Best Buy release.
Yeah, I may or may not be banned from Best Buy. May or may not.
They're like, darn. There's in every Best Buy in the country. There's a poster of Max's face. Like, do not sell.
Have you seen this man?
Yeah. Do not sell to.
Free publicity. There we go.
I'm gonna attempt to steal it again soon, though.
Just full
He's
disclosure.
A criminal. I mean.
Shibby at Shibby120. How's it going, man? It's been a few weeks since you've been on.
What's going on, y'all? I have my own posters. I don't need to steal them.
Yeah. Wait, you got? I see Breath of the Wild. See.
There's never enough.
Is that a Hollow Knight? Oh, you have a Hollow Knight one. It's Pokemon Arceus. I see Animal Crossing. What's the one right behind you? Is that
Hollow Knight?
I see Hollow Knight.
Oh, that's Dead Cells.
Oh, Dead Cells.
I've got
okay.
Hollow Knight. I've got Dead Cells.
Nice. This is going to be riveting for the audio listeners right now. Brittany. Brittany at Skrillerwolf. How you been?
I'm good. I don't have any cool posters behind me. Jeremy's working on a commission, so there is like over 200 Gundam pieces behind me.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You always have a good setup.
Other than that, like half of my workplace is quit. So I don't know what I'm gonna do because I guess my boss may be leaving. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm the assistant to him, so I don't know what my future is, but cool, I guess.
Yeah,
you're the boss now.
Yeah,
I'm my own boss.
I'm the captain now.
I make my own hours.
Chris at Toaster Dog, how's it going, man? It's good to have you back.
Good. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for the follow, Boosty. Yeah, of course. Okay, since there's a bunch of us, and I'm sure we all have a lot to say about open world games, we're gonna blast through anything that you've been playing this week. Anything you picked up. Max, don't tell me that you went on a shopping
we got one pickup.
Okay, cool.
One pickup.
All right, never again. The January 3rd episode or whatever that was. You had like a 20-minute segment. Russ, what have you been playing? What did you pick up?
So I'm going to stop saying Warframe every week. So I'm just going to go every week now.
That's just a given.
Yeah, that game's too addicting. I don't like it.
Warframe isn't real.
So I've been playing Far Cry 6. Me and a friend of mine have been going through that co-op. And it's annoying because I want to platinum it, so I have to go through it by myself too. I've been playing Hollow Knight, getting frustrated with that. I've been playing Minecraft for the first time. I have no idea what I'm doing in that. I basically just been following the trophy list. Whatever the trophies tell me to do is what I do.
Yeah. Oh, on Minecraft?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I never played it on PlayStation. I realized.
That's pretty much it for what I've been playing. And I only got one pickup, and it's thanks to Chris. I got, oh boy, River City Girls, finally.
Nice.
I am super excited to play that.
Awesome.
That game gives me nightmares after everything I had to do to get a physical copy.
Max is one of my RCG sources.
Oh, really?
I had 4 hours for that game.
Oh, yeah. You went to that event, right?
But yes.
Nice. Sky, Discard. What have you been up to this week, or like even before this week, since we last spoke to you?
Well, let's see. Like over the holiday season, I did get that one sickness.
Oh yeah.
So like during that time, I didn't really want to play anything. It was like the worst thing. I swear, I tried to play so many games, and I sat down and I was like, I just don't want to do this. And then towards the end of that, I picked up Ghost of Tsushima again. So I started playing that for the second playthrough, and I'm about at the end of that. I'm just kind of biding my time till some other chunky games come along. Pokemon. I'm going to be playing that tomorrow for sure.
Yeah.
That's going to be the main game for a while.
Oh, for sure. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. And do you have any like cool pickups lately?
I mean, I got this nice lamp back here, but outside of that, I've just been kind of biding my time, waiting for, new games to be coming out.
For sure.
And beginning of the year, it's usually a little bit slow in there. So Pokemon.
I saw you've been putting out some new display videos on your YouTube too. So be sure to check out Discard on YouTube.
I've been picking up more displays than games lately. Lots of cool displays out there.
Yeah, I see your the stuff you're posting on on Twitter, and like, wow, I didn't even know any of this existed. I feel like I scrounge to find I don't know, those controller stands and stuff, and it's overly expensive, and then I'm like, oh, this feels really cheap, especially if
It's a fun niche to look around, because you find these little hole in the wall places where one guy is making one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the entire industry of displaying stuff is just a couple people making things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, keep it up. Be sure to check out Discard on YouTube. Keezus, what have you been up to? What have you been playing? What are you
The pickup / what I've been playing is Legends Arceus.
You got that. Wait. How? Oh no.
Well, we don't talk. If this is going on YouTube, we don't talk about it. We don't want the big man shutting down the podcast.
Exactly. Legal and yeah.
But because embargo is up, all I can say is I have been playing Legends Arceus. And then there's 2 pickups that I completely forgot about that are coming soon. The Stream Deck, the Steam Deck, not the Stream Deck, the Steam Deck. I should get an email for that in February to purchase that. And then from Limited Run Games, the KO edition of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which has been delayed like 1,800 times.
Nice.
Which they still don't really know when it's going to be shipped, but
That's typical Limited Run Games fashion.
I like how I did the whatever that sale with the mystery games, and it like in the FAQ it's like, how soon will it ship? And they're like, everything is on hand, ready to ship, so it should ship out immediately. And it's been like 3 weeks, and there's been no update. I'm like,
they just say in the FAQ, when will it ship? It says it won't.
yeah, they're like, when we feel like it, all right. Yeah, awesome. Max, what about you?
Right. So I played 2 games. I played Dying Light. I know I'm late to the topic since we already did a book club of that, but I'm almost done with that game. I think having a lot of fun with Dying Light. And then my one pickup is the game I've been playing a lot. I wish Aaron was here so I could talk to him about this. I got Life is Strange True Colors.
Nice.
I've actually am almost done with this game. I should beat it by the time the next episode is. So there's that. That's my pickups. That was the fastest I think I've ever been on this. I know.
I feel like I need to ask you
Clip
again.
that.
Yeah. This is going in the highlight reel.
And A Way Out. I beat that with my friend Trent. That game was crazy.
Oh, awesome.
I want to play that. That's been on my list.
Most unique game I've ever played in terms of the story.
Nice.
Everything, in terms of how they played that. No spoilers, but that was awesome.
Cool. Shibby, what have you been up to? What are you
What's
playing?
up, y'all? So, with that last indie sale on Switch, I got a lot of games. I just kind of went all out. And so I've been kind of chipping away at that a little bit. The Long Dark, I've been playing that recently.
Nice.
I don't know if anybody's played that. It's a survival game. Put that thing on all the way on easy, but it's really, really fun. It's really, really cool.
Nice. Yeah, so you also, since you also haven't been on a little bit, you have your YouTube, the Switch unboxing, is what you renamed it. And so, but it still says should be 120. And so be sure to check that out, because you got your OLED video up, I saw. That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I posted that OLED video, and I changed the name of the channel just to experiment. It could go back, but it should be 120 is my handle. Fun thing, if you go to YouTube and you search should be 120, it just pulls up Switch unboxing channel. So that's cool. That's still going on.
It knows. It knows that you are you.
Apparently.
Awesome. Well, yeah.
Creepy but cool.
check Shibby out on YouTube if you haven't already. Brittany at Skrillerwolf, how have you been? Or I already asked you how you've been. What have you been playing? What'd you pick up?
It's actually I tested out Nestor's Funky Bowling on Virtual Boy. So I was playing that. The music is weird in it. Like part of it's good and the other part just sounds like nothing. Like not music. What else? Oh, Kirby's Dreamland 2. I've been playing that.
Ooh.
On the Super Nintendo and on
I like that game.
my childhood SP. And then besides that, I've attempted to play Hollow Knight several times. I play it for about 10 minutes and die a lot, and then I'm like, okay, I need a break.
Yeah. Is your Virtual Boy still mounted on like the like arm, like the mic arm?
So now we got a replacement eye cover for it, and it's mounted on like a camera stand.
Sick.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So Jeremy thought that I didn't really know. I never paid attention, but the OEM ones are actually made out of cloth, and these ones are replacements. They're similar to the ones on Stone Age Gamer, but they're made out of foam.
Oh, okay.
So they're soft.
Nice.
But as far as pickups go, I got the physical copy of Hollow Knight since the mean guy at Best Buy didn't want to check for me. And then I got Kingdoms of Amular Re-Reckoning because I think it was mismarked at GameStop. They had it for $7, and when I checked their website and stuff, it said like $12.99 or something. But the lady saw the tag and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll give it to you for that." And so I was like, "Cool."
That's awesome. Good job.
Thanks,
Chris at Toaster Dog. What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
So I've been playing. I played Halo with you guys a few times.
Yes.
Played a little Rocket League, which I'm like Russ. I'm just tired of saying Rocket League, so
Rocket
I'm not going to say
always.
I played a whole boatload of Hollow Knight. I am now over 19 and a half hours into it.
Did you beat that boss?
Nope. Died 7 times.
Ouch.
Probably more after this. And then I have 2 pickups. One that I got prior to last week I just forgot about, and that's Trials of Mana.
Oh, nice.
And the other one I got from the limited run sale. So I guess for the limited run sale, they ship out like the individual games you can buy right away, but the blind boxes are shipped in like February. So I got Cthulhu Saves Christmas.
Oh, nice. That's sick.
I've seen gameplay of that game, but
pretty cool. I'm eager to try it out probably at the end of this year.
When you finally can get to it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Be sure to follow everyone on either Twitch or YouTube. Most of you guys are on both platforms. And it'll be in the description of the video or the podcast. Be sure to follow them. My pickups, all I got was Hyrule Warriors on sale.
Yes.
Because I keep wanting to play it, and I really like the demo. I played through the demo twice, and I was like, I'm gonna get this game right away, and then I just never ended up doing it. Speaking of which, I need to put the game back in. And then if you were here for the last 2 weeks we've been doing pre-show. This week was a lot of fun. We did Jackbox games with like most of you guys, and it got rowdy. But I opened before that. I was at Target, and they had this like Breath of the Wild just like collector's box, and it came with like a bento box and a water bottle and a messenger bag and some pins. What? And so I opened that during the pre-show, and it was a pretty good deal. Like the stuff seems like pretty high quality, except for the water bottle. Like that's kind of jank, but everything else is.
Where'd you score that
nice.
from?
It was at Target, just sitting in the in the gaming section. But like even like
the bento box is hella cute.
Yeah, the bento box is like a Sheikah Slate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so and the pants are nice. But yeah, that's all my pickups. I've been playing Halo, tons of Halo like every freaking night. Hollow Knight. I tried streaming that last night, and it was tough. I struggle with streaming Metroidvania games because I get really anxious that I can't know where to go, and I feel like I have to get off stream and like relax to figure it out. Fall Guy.
Metroid Dread was just hours of me being like,
just lost.
I don't know where to go.
Yeah, I streamed Hollow Knight for an hour and accomplished 0 things. I just wandered around and thought I got to a spot, but I'm not, like, it blocked me because I'm not ready for that part apparently. And then played some Fall Guys. I've been playing Clubhouse games a lot because I picked that up a few weeks ago. That's been a ton of fun. But yeah,
is Clubhouse Games the one? Was that video featured in Scott the Waz's video, like beat 'em ups is Scott the Waz video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if he was joking when he said it was really good, but then I've been hearing Ty also say it's really good, and now I kind of want to get Clubhouse Games.
It's fun. It's fun. It kind of reminds me of like Wii Sports, like that type of vibe. There's 51 games, and there's like card games, there's like Texas Hold'em and poker and darts and billiards. Like the billiards game is not good though. You can't do anything in it. That's my one darts. And then bowling. The bowling is very similar to Wii Bowling or Wii Sports Bowling. No, billiards is fun, but like you can't add English to the balls, and you can't. There's just some like normal pool games where you can like aim, like put where you're gonna hit the ball. You can't do any of that, and you can't like hop the ball or anything. And the aiming is kind of difficult because it doesn't give you a lot of like lead of where it's gonna go.
How much is it? Is it like a budget title? Is it like $40 or is it 60?
I think I picked it up for 27, but it was on sale from.
That's a pretty good deal. That's two games for $1.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good games on there, and then there's a bunch of single player games too. But you can play it online, which is fun.
That's cool.
So Sally and I have been playing here and there, and it's a lot of fun. Just a very casual online game. And then. Yeah, let's do it. Open world games is tonight's topic. We're making good time. We're only 30 minutes in. Not even 30 minutes in. So I bring this up because Keezus, you touched on this. Pokemon Legends comes out tomorrow, and it's kind of like an open world-ish Pokemon game. It's a bit of a departure from that, which it kind of reminded me of like Breath of the Wild was a departure from previous Zelda games in the same way. And so and then I kept seeing articles about people getting like this open world fatigue and certain gameplay mechanics that it was like, are we at the like cliff of open world games becoming like out of style because there's so many coming out, and it's what used to be kind of like unique and like exciting is becoming overly an overly used mechanic to either make games unnecessarily long or complicated or stuff like that. And so I've been seeing both sides of the story, and so I was like, this could be a good debate, because I know some people hate open world games. Some people only want to play open world games. And so we'll start with just, do you like open world games? And then we'll narrow it down from there. And if you do, like, what do you like about them? What don't? Or if you don't, what you don't like about it? And if, as I keep saying every week, if someone says something, jump in if you want to like add to it. We don't have to go completely in order. I'm just going to keep it moderated loosely. So, Russ, I'll start with you, just because you're in the top left corner. And you already said you had a hot take, so I'm curious what you're going to say.
Here we go.
I feel like I'm in the minority, and I really don't like them, except for like two. The main thing I don't really like. Oops. The main thing I don't.
Well, you don't. Hey, you don't have to get upset about it, man.
The main thing I don't like is it feels like there's too much to do sometimes. Cyberpunk is a good example where I would do a story mission and it would unlock like 15 side quests, and I'm the type of person that will play all the side quests before I do the story. And eventually I just had to give up on Cyberpunk because I think at the end I had like 50 side quests compared to the story missions, and it was just too much. I just wanted to beat it. But there are some I do like Far Cry. I like that series. But I think the open-endedness of it and not being told where to go can be kind of frustrating for me.
Sure.
I like exploring, but I kind of like the linear games like BioShock, for example, where it's a story, you know where to go, and there's a certain path you take. It's like a planned out story instead of experiencing your own story, kind of. And I kind of like that experience more.
Yeah. I get that. I was gonna talk about like Spider-Man, like the PS4, PS5, and Miles Morales. Those are technically like open world games, but you have very specific like, this is your main task, and if you want to do other stuff, like, and you get the map, and it's just like, okay, just pick it, and then it'll literally just point an arrow to where you're going. So it's open world, but it's also linear in a way, and I liked that a lot because I didn't have to use my brain to figure out what I should decide what to do next. It's like, no, do this. or if you don't want to do this, just do any of these other things. But it's clearly not going to advance the story unless you do this next thing, and you can kind of take your time on it, and you can just swing around for all you want. And I know Breath of the Wild like kind of does that, but also it's not quite as like you start the game and it's like beat the game essentially. Like that's your first goal.
Yeah.
And so I understand how like the hands off can be appealing, but I like being told, like I like having the freedom, but I also like being told like this is how you're gonna advance the game. And so I don't know that. Sky, what about you?
Well, I mean, Breath of the Wild definitely does like, tell you it's like go over here and you could do this little mini dungeon. You do this little mini dungeon, and it leads you around. It has that like core thread through the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So you can like streamline the whole experience, or you can explore a little bit. I think Breath of the Wild is probably the best example of what a open world game is modern. In modern times. But I do find it interesting that like growing up, we had games like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess, and we all called them open world games. But in like retrospective, like looking back at those games, they're pretty linear. They just have some like, little, open world activities. Yeah. And I still consider them open world games. I think games have just come so far now that like, we look at these games and we call them linear because they're not as open world as other games.
Sure.
When
I can see
in
that.
reality, like some of these, like, PlayStation exclusives that are, just about, climbing up hills and going to the next place to kill something are kind of open world themselves. I mean, there's little things to do in every area. But I think what's most important, like what Russ was saying, is like, he gets kind of bored, like no direction. And that's where you end up like running into a really bad open world. You end up with just a really boring escape. And I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I got rid of that game. I tried so hard to like that game, but I just didn't feel like things were meaningful. I didn't have like the sense of like inspiration to go and like look for stuff, because every time I went and did something, I felt like it was the same thing I did like a second ago, and the reward for it wasn't that great. And I only got, halfway through that game. So I haven't finished the game, and I still think it's a great game. I think it's a fantastic game, but it's just not right for me, especially in the perspective of, playing a game like Breath of the Wild before, where everything to me was very meaningful. Every pickup, everything that I got was like adding to my inventory and making me stronger and better. And, that's part of the RPG side of Breath of the Wild, which I really fell in love with. But yeah, open worlds can be really good, and they can also be really bad if the developers aren't making things meaningful or interesting.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. So I don't play a lot of Ubisoft games, especially all the new like open world style ones. Seems like they have
that's all their formula is right now.
Yeah,
Ubisoft is completely open world.
and I heard that a lot about Valhalla specifically, that they took everything and just cranked it up a little bit more with like all the like the little things like that with like grindy and like.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I was grinding instead of like exploring in certain situations. I like at the time, and this is just like my experience at that time, I was like, I wish this world was like, 10 times smaller, and I had like much less of all these events that were happening in the game, and I could just focus on the cool story that was happening, or like the cool side quests that had a lot of story to them as well. There's so much cool stuff to do there. I just was getting, tired with it.
Yeah.
The best Ubisoft game is Ghost of Tsushima, which is not made by Ubisoft. And like that game nails that method like perfectly. That game is like such a good progression of those kinds of things that it's like, yeah, like that's what I want in an open world game. I want to explore. I want to have like this bird shows up and it's like, I'll lead you to this cool place. And I'm like, yeah, bird, let's go, baby. And we find some cool stuff that's meaningful, that like helps my character, that like gets me a new thing for a token that makes me stronger or whatever. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But I understand how people like people play the Ubisoft games and they kind of, I feel like that's where that fatigue comes from. It's like you need to get away from like the more cut and paste type games and get into some more meaningful stuff. Play Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima, Breath of the Wild, Death Stranding, Cryo.
No. Yes. Death Stranding.
And
Boom.
Death Stranding is also very interesting because it does have a lot of just open area that is kind of meaningless. I mean, you're walking through that place and there isn't something to do everywhere, but I still enjoyed that game. Maybe because it didn't throw as much stuff at me all the time.
Sure. I watched Kenny's in the chat. I watched him streaming Horizon Zero Dawn, and I was like, "There's no chance in hell I'm ever gonna play this game." Like I was like, "This." I was so stressed out just watching him play.
No, it's a simple game. I mean, it's fairly easy, and like time slows down. You have all sorts of time to like take these guys down. It's just kind of stressful because you see this giant robot coming at you that's gonna like bite your feet off, and you're like, here we are.
Yeah.
But that game's good.
He meant to say bite your face off, not your feet.
And no, just the feet. That's what the
Just the
robots
feet.
want.
I got issues.
Keezus, what about you?
I will say I do like open world, but I think there's a category of two separate kinds of open worlds. There's exhaustive open world, and then there's the modern sort of open world. Exhaustive, I mean in the sense of CD Projekt Red, where I feel like they think the gamer wants everything to do in one game, so let's pump it and make it 110 hours because of side quests. No, that's where it gets exhaustive, and it's like I don't want to. I've been trying to play Witcher 3 for like 5 years now. I'll play it in like 2 hour spurts, and I'm like, there's too much to do. I don't feel like going back and forth on horseback, so I'm gonna put it down. It'll be 3 years from now. I'll probably pick it back up again. That is an exhaustive open world.
I wanna back you up on the CD Projekt Red because I just recently read Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and literally their whole mentality behind it was we want to make an RPG that is like basically the longest thing ever. We want to give people their money's worth. And so they're like, we're aiming to make this 100 hours. And instead it ended up being 200 hours.
It's nuts. That's my nightmare.
There's way too much to do in that game. Way too much.
Witcher 3 is awesome.
It seems like it's great game, but I
just can't finish it.
It stresses me out even thinking like even starting it because I'm like, am I just wasting my time because I know I'm not going to put that much time into that game. But I'm doing the same thing with Cyberpunk.
Just so you know, the credits and Cyberpunk is like 40 minutes long.
Really?
That was awful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's unskippable too.
I mean, I guess you could exit the game at that point. But...
Oh.
Albeit even though Cyberpunk was sort of smaller, there still was way too much shit to do in that game.
Piss off Sal. I don't skip credits. I need to clarify. I don't skip credits. I was curious if it was that long, if they allowed for it.
I don't remember. I beat it once. I told someone I'd be like, I played it multiple times for the different like character playthroughs. I was like, no, I'm done. I can't. I have a life I need to get back to. But then there's formulas like Breath of the Wild, which are sort of toned down open worlds that make it easier for someone to play, get through. Now, granted, Breath of the Wild is an open world where they never say you have to do shrines. You don't have to get the Master Sword.
Yeah.
You can just do the Divine Beast and then go to Ganon. And when I saw speedrunners doing that, I'm like, yo, that's kind of fire.
Yeah.
Like, they're not telling you have to do these things. And that's what made Breath of the Wild sort of its own formula that now other games are sort of getting into. Like, I do like Ghost of Tsushima. I can't speak right now. I'm so passionate about open worlds. I do like Ghost of Tsushima because the areas that were in it were small enough for me want to explore it all, but not too exhausted with so many side quests where I'm like, there's no way I'm beating this game. Granted, I still did not beat the game, but that's because I stopped playing my PS4 when I got a PC, so it's a different story.
No, so I have to say, Sally got me to play Breath of the Wild, like actually go through and beat it, and it's not my type of game typically, because I don't like to look stuff up. I like to if I have to look something up, just tell it to me. Is how I kind of have that mentality. And But that said, when I was like getting help, like, oh, to get the Master Sword, you have to go into the Lost Woods, and like maybe there was some little clue that I was supposed to go there and do a certain thing in certain order, and I had to have however many heart containers, and like, but it doesn't explicitly say any of that, and so it allows you to just kind of miss a lot if you don't know, if you aren't either told, or you don't have any heads up, or you don't like take notes or really inspect stuff like that. That's my one detraction. Like, Breath of the Wild is one of the most memorable experiences I've ever had in gaming, because it took me out of my comfort zone. But that's what.
That's a pretty big part of the map, though, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, I guess like, you can if you go there eventually, but then even still, like, you have to use, like, you can't. I forgot there was.
I forget how they lead you there, but there's definitely something that leads you there. That's in like the storyline, I thought.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, but like, even like, you don't know, like to pull the sword out, you have to have this 13 heart containers or something.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't tell you that. It's just like you fail.
You're over.
Yeah, and so it's like that's my one.
It utilizes like the world for that, I think.
Mm-hmm. It utilizes what?
Like the world to like tell you what to do.
Yeah,
kind of. Eventual exploration will lead you there.
Like, it could pop up on the screen and be like, you need to go to the upper left-hand corner of the map, and by the way, you got to have this many hearts. Or it can like be a giant part of the map that you end up at through like little story queues. And I forget how you get there, because you have to like get through that forest to start with.
Yeah, there's like a guiding thing you have to follow.
And somebody told me about that. I forget where that came from. And then you get there and you pull it, but it's like it's telling you through that sword that, once you've pulled it, you understand that that's what's going on, as opposed to like an on-screen prompt or like a like a quest list or something like that.
Listen, I'll tell you, after Fee and Skyward Sword, I think most of us were just so happy. Like, they got a lot of feedback, and so that's why Nintendo was like, okay, let's make a game where they have to kind of figure some of this out. So I'll say, for the most part, I was happy about that, because the previous Zelda game, they like triply told you what to do.
That was like the whole zeitgeist too. Like, when that game came out, people were like, dude, I can light grass on fire. Like, we're like figuring out all these things about the game and like still experimenting. There's still like videos today that are like, by the way, you could do this in Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, holy cow, this has been there for this many years and nobody's found this thing.
I'm shocked every time I see stuff like that. It's like 15 new things discovered like this week in Breath of the Wild. I'm like, what?
Those keep popping up on my IGN's YouTube. I'm like, what are you still finding out about this game? It's years later. And then it'll be like, oh, you can launch a rock in this sky with like a turtle shell. And it's like, oh.
So it's like all experimentation, right?
One of the ones I recently saw was, okay, so there's like 3 pots that they showed in the game, and each pot has different buoyancy. So one of them in the game, when you throw it in the water, it just goes like halfway in, and then one of them lands and then flips upside down every time and floats that way. And then one floats kind of like at a diagonal. It's just like, it's so wild that people just, the developers thought of these weird little intricacies.
Mm-hmm. And I know people wanted like the dungeons, right? They wanted like the original dungeons. A lot of people said that about Breath of the Wild, like, oh, it's not my Zelda because it doesn't have the giant dungeons. But I mean, if you look at Breath of the Wild as just a giant dungeon, I mean, it kind of is, everywhere you go, there's puzzles to figure out, and like, you don't know how to solve them. And then later you're like, oh, wait, I can light this on fire with this, or I can move these things with this thing. And you like figure out all these puzzles as you're going along.
Yeah,
that's a big difference between when we're talking about, our open world games, like, are they still a good idea? And it really, like we're saying, it just depends on how it's implemented, because I get why Breath of the Wild is so barren, but I still think it could benefit from having more in the world. But by that same effect, like you're saying, the world is kind of it's got a lot of puzzles with it, Mm-hmm. So when you're building an open world game, are you making it a game, or like you said, are you building it open just to have it built open? Are you giving it extra thought? Because they hadn't had a open world Zelda game before. So yeah, they took Ubisoft inspiration and Skyrim and everything else, but it wasn't like they're just making, we're Nintendo, let's make another open world game. No, it was like their first one like that. and so they actually put some thought into it. So I think that does like make a big difference too. It's like, you know, are you doing something different, or are you being innovative with your open world game? Are you still innovating?
Yeah.
Unless you're Far Cry, then that's fine.
Just keep doing that. Just keep
Fine.
going.
It's arcade fun and it's tried and true, but
Yeah, I think most developers are just like, how big can I make this? And like kids, you know, they can tell kids like, hey, it's this big now. It's this much bigger than the last last open world we've made. And like that's all they care about, instead of just like, this is really good video game. Like you should try it because there's all these cool puzzles and stuff.
Where did we leave off? Max, I think you're up. Did you
Yes,
tell your
I'm
take?
up. I've not.
I don't want to skip anyone.
So, I am a big fan of open world games. However, I feel it's losing its magic. I feel like it's lost its magic for like since 2019, maybe. I feel like the same open world games that we get now, I don't get the same feeling towards open world games. When I play a open world game that comes out now, I feel exhausted, to be honest. I think we just talked about open world games being exhausting.
Yeah, that fatigue.
Far Cry 6 is probably the most recent open world game I've played. That game was exhausting to me because I guess it's probably the open world side of it. And I was super pumped for that game. If you ask my friends, I was like, I was rooting for that game. And then every time I played that game, I was just so exhausted by its open world. And, you know, I think Cyberpunk is a good example too. I think a lot of you guys brought up Cyberpunk as a good example for open world games being exhausting. I just feel like open world games now are not as cool, not as original, not as unique as it used to be. They just feel kind of like a copy and paste now. It's, you know, I think how I feel about open world games.
I have a question. What do you guys think is the best open world game since Breath of the Wild?
Forza Horizon.
Forza Horizon, yes.
When did it come out?
2017, March 2017.
5 years ago.
I guess
I ain't finished Legends Arceus yet, so I can't.
Maybe.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, you got a couple of you have mentioned that.
I think that's pretty
Death
good.
Stranding, actually. Death Stranding.
Max, you like. I get mixed up. So, Rush, you hate Death Stranding. Max, you love Death Stranding. Max, you
Rush
hate.
loves Death Stranding. He loves
You-
it.
People get
He's
I
in
will
love with Death
Okay,
Stranding.
I remember it all.
I will defend Death Stranding till I die. People are confused by that game's meaning. So, you know. You know how people defend
what
Last of
is-
Us Part 2? I will defend Death Stranding till the day I die.
What is the new God of War considered? Is that considered open world?
I actually wanted to.
In the
talk
olden
about
days,
that.
it would be. Like when Ocarina of Time came out, like God of War definitely would have been like open world. I think so.
Because the new God of War is fire. I had a lot of fun with that. Probably more fun with that than Horizon Zero Dawn, but that's bias.
Horizon Zero Dawn came out before Breath of the Wild.
Oh
yeah, it did.
It did.
Yeah.
Well, I was asking about it because I haven't beat
I think same month.
Horizon yet. I need to beat it first. But that might.
Or same
I don't know if that'll
period.
usurp Ghost of Tsushima or not.
I have a.
Spider-Man was pretty good too.
Oh yeah, was that after? I liked
was
Spider-Man. Miles
after.
Morales.
Yeah,
I
it was
really liked.
2018.
Yeah, they're very good.
I have a confession. I really want to play Cyberpunk. I was super.
It's a good game.
I was super excited for it, and then I got it. But now I'm like, isn't the next gen update? I got it on PS4. Isn't the free next gen update coming like in the next month or two? And so I'm like, do I start this now?
They don't know when it's coming out. They don't. If they say it's coming out next month, it's not coming out next month. They don't know when the next gen. It's going to be delayed till the end of the year. I'm calling it now. That next gen update was supposed to already be out in 2020. I just want to point that out. We still haven't had the next gen update, so it's never coming out.
Maybe I'll start it. I don't know. It stares at me. Where is it? It's right there. It stares at me every time I want to play it. I was so pumped for it. Like that was going to be the game that converted me to open world long ass games, and I avoided it because of all the chaos at the launch. But I still want to play it.
I mean, it's not even a long game if you don't do the side quest. It's only like a 20-hour game.
Oh yeah, it's fetch questy if you let it be, or maybe it is always. Shibby. Oh, hey Marcus in the YouTube chat. Sorry about that. Hi Marcus, thanks for.
I don't know what happened.
Go ahead, Shibby.
No, it's okay. I'll wait.
No, you're good.
No. I just had flashbacks at school. My teachers like, class, I'll wait. Something happened. I don't know what it was. I think so. I took a break from video games. I don't know. I think I want to say, was it Skyward Sword? After Skyward Sword, I think Skyward Sword ruined video games for me. No, it wasn't that bad, but I really think after that I took a break, and then I got my Xbox 360, which honestly came out. I think I got Skyrim late. I don't know if I got it a year late. I don't know. That was my first open game, and my true open world game, I would call it. I couldn't stand it, man. You know what I mean? It's like there's too many things to do. And I think one thing Breath of the Wild does well is they do, like you said, they tell you your objective from the get-go. And you can see, there was so much thought put in this game. They probably thought this type of thing. They probably thought, hey, we want the player to be able to see the objective. We got this big floating purple thing. So you can see where the end is. And I think other games are that way too. You can see the ending. But I feel like in Skyrim, the main quest didn't seem super main to me. You know, like a Breath of the Wild, the side quest really seems side, but like on Skyrim, it just branches off in these old ways, these different ways. And now I had to play more open world games to get it, and I had to play Fallout. I had to get a shooter to get me into that world. And then when Switch came out with Skyrim, then I got Skyrim again, and I was like, good. I was good on it. I totally got it. But so just to say, like, I was really overwhelmed at first. And like I said, I think it really does depend on how it's implemented, and it depends on the player and everything. Like I had to learn. I never freaked out about Skyrim like other people do. I still think it's really fun, and it's cool how you can make your own adventures out of it. Even like the Long Dark I'm playing right now, you make your own story by your own journey. Like if I go to my screenshots on the Switch and I go back to my old one, first few months playing Breath of the Wild, you know, when I'm underpowered, I feel like that's me. Like I discovered that mountain. I discovered that armor. Like that's the really magical aspect to it. But so anyways,
I agree.
You know, that's my ramble. You agree? Yeah. It's just that it has to be done the right way. And so a lot of people are getting burnt out on it, but I never went hard. I was always picking and choosing. I never just played a game to play an open world game. I always did just like, you know, is this a good game? Does it have elements that I like to it? So I think it just depends. I don't think open world games are dead or anything. I always leaned more toward linear games, so I'm not gonna lie. I think linear games do have that special aspect to it, a special kind of storytelling you can only do, or like open sandbox, like the Outer Worlds or like Dishonored. I like that where it's more honed in.
Sure.
And you can just play within that sandbox, but
I was go ahead.
No, that's it.
I would definitely agree with the sort of Skyrim and the Bethesda style of open world. When I play those and I really don't know which quest is the main story quest because they sort of all pop up together. I remember the first time playing Skyrim and I was walking through it and I was just doing things. And the next thing I know, I finished the main story and I was like, oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to talk to those people yet. Now I'm screaming Fusro Daw for fun. I don't know what any of this means because I was never one that was heavily in the lore of Skyrim. So I'm just doing things. I'm just exploring. And then I play Fallout. I got a little addicted to Fallout because I played 4 and then I played 3 and I was like, I gotta play more Fallout. But when I played Fallout, it was the same way. Like they give you like a quest. You won't really know it's the main quest until you start talking to more people and they're like, oh, I'm getting close to the end of the game. But if you're like doing the main quest with side quests, they sort of all flow together and they sort of make sense in the flow of how they go together. But that's my spiel about Bethesda open world.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's how I was. And it's kind of like one of my friends told me that he does not like Skyrim. Like I like it. I can play. I've got hundreds of hours. But he said that the game said, well, open world games, you know, they're like, hey, you can go here, you can go do this. And he's like, I can, but why do I want to? You know? Oh, yeah, I can, you know, but to that effect too, like I talked about this before. It's like, I don't know about you all, but when I was a kid, like open world games was the fantasy. We didn't have that phrase for it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're just like, dude, what if they made a game where you could just go anywhere? You could just go over here and go to this house and do this and that. We're like, oh, dude. And then, but like now it happened. But I think it's novelty is probably wearing off.
Yeah. Minecraft dropped, and then they were like, what if other games were like Minecraft? And we could just go wherever.
And then they made Lego Worlds.
Lego Worlds. I played some Lego Worlds as a kid.
I think there's something to be said for people, like for the people who are actually playing the games too, and like what their perspective is, and how much like guidance they have from like friends when they're first jumping into open world games. It's kind of like, you know, like From Software games. Like a lot of people are like, oh, those are too hard, or you know, they're terrible games because like these enemies are broken. They just kill me in one hit. It's terrible. But if like you like help people to understand those games a little bit more, people like love those games that you know, are from outside of that circle. Like From Software games are fantastic, and they're not necessarily hard games. You just have to understand like all the cues that are there to explain to you how to play it. The same thing with open worlds. I think like if you don't have much time after work and you're coming home and you're putting on a cut and paste open world game, you're probably going to hate that game. You probably want to play something that, you know, you want to be Nathan Drake, you know, and go play that game, you know?
But, I think that ties in a lot of the reason why I avoided them, because if I have to spend half an hour trying to figure out what I was doing last and what I'm going to have to do next, like that's like 3 rounds of Rocket League that I could be done by then. Like literally, I think that's why I play those types of games, because I'm like, I maybe have usually like, especially before like the last year, I would maybe have like 30 minutes to sit and play a game. I'm not gonna. I feel like I would just be turning my wheels every time I booted something like that. I didn't have 3 hours to invest into like catching myself up, or like consistently. Like sometimes I wouldn't play for a week, and so that's nearly impossible to maintain an open world style game like without having your handheld and stuff like that. Something going on in the chat right now, and if you were watching the pre-show, we talked about it, that the Legend of Zelda NES was technically open world because I think Sally was bringing it up that you can just do them in any order, and you just kind of wander around however you wanted. It was less linear. But I know Aaron.
I mean, what is the actual definition of what an open world game is? I don't think it's that.
We were discussing like,
I think it's just a big world that you could do stuff in. I think that's all it is.
Is open world the same as non-linear? Like we were talking about like Metroidvania games. Do they count as open world because you can kind of just wander around?
I mean, Ocarina of Time was called open world, and it's fairly linear. It tells you everything where you need to go. I mean, you could consider Breath of the Wild linear if you wanted to. You could say, you know, you could just go in a line to where you want to go. It tells you where to go next, and you just do that thing, and you end up at the final boss, and you're done.
I've never heard anybody call Ocarina of Time an open world game. I see how it could be said, and
it was like that was like the first time.
I think people commonly
that, and I mean Mario 64. I mean, like those. That's where it all began.
Yeah. See that because you could like. I mean, but did you have to go? I don't remember. It's been so long since I played Mario 64.
It was still like you could still go and do tons of side quests and things in those games. I mean, there's like lots of little things. I mean, that's like the birth of where all this stuff came from. They were like big areas you could go and like do secrets and puzzles, and it's Ocarina of Time is like the first like thought that like Breath of the Wild could exist someday.
Can I shout out my video game book club nomination of Toe Jam and Earl that came out in the mid 90s as it wasn't procedurally generated, but it was randomly generated, and you could do whatever you wanted. You could go up to different worlds, down to different worlds. You could run off the cliff if you wanted, and I feel like still I will say to this day that game was way ahead of its time with that type of just exploration. The whole game was exploration, and there wasn't anything like that at the time. And so I'm gonna say it again. If you it's on the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. Play it with 2 people though, because it's kind of lame by yourself. And then splitting split screen when you run away from each other accidentally. Someone gets the super high tops and sprints off the screen, and it goes to split screen. It's awesome.
I loved that game when I was a kid, man. I played it on Genesis. Oh, and I actually have the Switch. There's a sequel on Switch. I never played it, but I downloaded it.
I have that on Xbox.
But that game was
when it
weird.
was on sale. But I love the original. It's so good. But you have to start over every time you play it because you have to beat it in one session or you start over. But it's not even frustrating. You're just like, oh, we're starting. The first level is always the first bottom level is always the same, and then you go up and it's random from that point on. And so it's like you can just keep playing it with a weird toe game. Where were we? Who did I Skrill?
Skrill needs
Give me your thoughts.
So as somebody who like predominantly played World of Warcraft growing up, I've got mixed opinions on open world. So I'll start off with my experiences first. I think I started with Kingdom Hearts, which is not very open world, but I also played Jak and Daxter, which could be considered open world. So growing up, I had this really dumb mindset that I was like, well, clearly if it exists in the game, I can go to it. So in Kingdom Hearts, I always thought I was really dumb and I couldn't make it to certain parts of the game because I just didn't progress far enough, but really there's boundaries in games and invisible walls and stuff in games. And so, I thought that was neat, but I thought I was playing games wrong. And then I started playing World of Warcraft. And World of Warcraft, you truly can go everywhere. And so I got super invested into that and dropped console gaming entirely. But then when I dropped World of Warcraft, because I'm like, okay, I'm spending way too much time doing everything in this game, I went back to linear games and I liked them. But kind of the first things that kind of eased me back into them was, oddly enough, Soul Calibur 4. Because you could create characters in it, kind of like WoW. Little Big Planet, because you could make your own games. And then Dragon Age Origins, which is open world, and it's like an RPG and stuff. So I kind of got eased back into console gaming through, I would say, an open world RPG. And then from there, I played Kingdoms of Amalur. And I don't know, something about after this game, I was like, I kind of like that I can squeeze more shorter games into my time, more stories into my time than playing one of these really long games. Because they're fun. They're really cool. But I started playing, my dad was like, you should try Uncharted. So I tried Uncharted. I really liked Uncharted. Then I tried Devil May Cry and I really liked Devil May Cry. And then I tried the new Tomb Raider and then The Last of Us. And Last of Us was probably the big turn to where I was like, okay, open world is really cool, but it's hard with all of the side stuff going on to feel as invested in the story and what's happening than something linear when you're on a path. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily a good or a bad thing. I just really like that. That was my pivot point to where I was like, okay, I think I like story games better. I think that a lot of newer open world games are pretty daunting. Breath of the Wild was daunting. I had to take a break from it. Yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn, I love the game. In fact, the year it came out, I would argue people online for fun that Horizon Zero Dawn is a far better game than Breath of the Wild. Just because I like being facetious, but so I really liked it and stuff, but I was just like, man, it's hard holding my attention for that long to just dedicate 60 to 100 hours to a game. So yeah, I ended up beating Breath of the Wild. I think it's great. And then I got into Ghost of Tsushima. And I think the thing that Ghost of Tsushima does really right is I think the story is engaging all the way through. It's got that signature Sony pizzazz where they I don't know if they force their developers to tell a really good story, but most of them tend to tell a really good story. I think going back to kind of what Keys has said, and this is the point that I wanted to build off of, I think open world is done best when it's open world segments. So I think Uncharted 4 is a great example where there's open world segments to it. It feels very big, it feels vast, but it doesn't feel so vast to where, if you took 4 weeks away from gaming because you had homework and because you had to work overtime or something crazy and you come back to it, you're lost. Like you're like, I don't remember why I'm supposed to be fighting these 46 goblins. I don't know why I'm supposed to be getting these pelts for this guy. I don't know why I'm supposed to be fighting this boss. You come back and there's like a nice little cutscene that happens because of autosave, and it reintroduces you to that point in the game. Yeah, but it's still big. It still feels vast. It still feels like an adventure. God of War obviously does this super well. I feel like the world feels huge, even though like it's very what could be considered linear, like in the way you progress in the game. But you can still go back. There's still cool stuff that you can go back to and do. And the last example I'll use is The Last of Us 2. There's a really great open world segment towards the beginning of the game where you get to ride a horse around and you get to kind of do things in whatever order you please. And it was really cool because I feel like survival horror games don't tend to like do that, or not survival horror, but like horror story games tend to not do that very often. But I thought it was a really cool segment and I really enjoyed it. And you know, the rest of the game wasn't entirely like that, but it was a nice like open feeling to the game, and I didn't feel lost when I would come back to it. I didn't feel like trapped into doing side things. I just felt like nice to have that openness and then to like reel it back into the linear story. So that's my favorite way to do open world games. But as far as like stuff other than like RPGs that I've gotten into and like beat, Phantom Pains, Metal Gear Phantom Pains, I like for a lot of the same reason that you guys like Breath of the Wild. You can solve any mission in that game as creative as you want. I dropped a tank on a boss character to stun her so I could progress through the game because she was too hard. And I was like, I wonder if this would work. So I dropped it. She collapsed. I go pick her up and I'm like, cool. She's now my partner character because I dropped a tank on her.
That's pretty rad. What about you?
So when I was younger, I'm with Skrill here. I probably spent thousands of hours in World of Warcraft with my wife, and like she said, you could literally you could spend days just traveling around in that game. It was so huge. But I think a lot of a good thing to think about with open world games is it really depends on where you are in your life. Like I was telling Marcus in YouTube chat, like I have Breath of the Wild and I've never played it, and part of that is because there's just so many hours in that game that I know I don't have right now to play it and play it all the way through. Mm-hmm. I probably will play it at some point, but it is daunting. You know, and a lot of open world games have that daunting time factor. But for some people that's a pro. I mean, some people want to get lost in these worlds, and that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah.
I'm just not there right now in my life where I have, 60 hours to dump into a game. Sure, it's a great game. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I also don't have, 60 hours to drop in a game that isn't really good either.
Exactly.
And I don't want to get lost in a world that's garbage either. Yeah, I mean, I don't really.
No, I agree.
I don't really have anything else to say about it. But.
I agree with that. And I think that's why I started Breath of the Wild, because I was just so, I was so enamored with the whole, like, I had heard all the things, I'd seen it. I was like, I want to experience this world. And I played it for a little while, and then I got lost, and then I kept dying because I was doing the wrong thing. And I didn't want to look anything up. And so I just walked away from it. I was like, I don't have the desire to keep playing this. And then recently I basically got a few little tips, like, okay, don't do what you're doing, like, and then go do something else, and then you should do this, and then this, and then this, just like some general, like, just accomplish these things. And then I started streaming it, and I was getting tips like while I was streaming it, and it kind of changed my whole perspective. Like I don't know how long I put into it. My hour play is jacked up because I think I left it on when I wasn't actually playing, and so it's like, I think it's like 80 hours.
900 hours.
Yeah. No, I think I only probably put in like 20 20 to 25
Gotta
hours.
get that Zelda clout, bro.
Yeah, just jack it up. And so, but yeah, I get that same exact daunting feeling with any game that's long in general, especially if it's not linear, because I am the type of person that's like, if it's like the Hollow Knight is an example, it's 26 hours like on average to get through Hollow Knight. It's going to take me 40 if I don't start looking stuff up, because I will just wander around and waste hours because I'm not this is my second Metroidvania game I've ever played, and so I don't know the, like, you know, they kind of follow some certain cues and stuff. I don't know all those, and so
It's true.
and I feel like open world games are the same way, where they all kind of have similar cues of, you're like, oh, this is wanting me to do this right now because I've played other games that also have this same mechanic.
Yeah, you like build up your own like mental structure to like what you should be doing in some of these games, and like it can take time to do that, I think. That's for sure.
I like what Toast, so kind of like what Toast said, and also I was about to say this, and then Official Friendo in the chat just mentioned this. So two things here about as far as like demographic too, especially like if we can talk back to like Breath of the Wild. Well, it does depend on too. Like I think a lot of us here, we play a lot of games. And so we may think that a lot of hours into a game can be a little daunting when somebody who only buys 2 games a year, you know, like we said earlier, like if you buy 2 games a year, well then yeah, you want this game where you can just play for 300 hours. And then I think another factor too, which is interesting, because hearing people say that Breath of the Wild is daunting, like was never for me. It was so therapeutic. Is this game I had to keep playing every day because this little piano music and you're sailing, I couldn't put it down. And Official Friendo kind of touched on this, is like, oh, okay, so I played the game when it launched. So when that game launched, I was all about the Switch, and I had like 2 games to choose from. So you were okay playing Breath of the Wild, but you're jumping into it later, and so you're kind of like, oh, well, now I've got this big backlog. And so I think it is a little bit of a different vibe in 2022. Playing that game specifically, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Max, I know you said you have to go. We're past your cutoff. Thanks for joining us. We're going to wrap it up here. We're going to do our closing comments, but I want to say bye. Thanks to you, Monado Max on YouTube. You're on Twitch now, too. You're on Instagram now.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram.
Yeah,
yes, I made an Instagram today.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.
See him at Best Buy.
At Best Buy. In handcuffs.
See him everywhere but Best Buy.
Everywhere but Best Buy. I'm going to be there soon to pick up that poster. They just don't know I'm going to be there.
All right, Max. Thank you, man.
See you guys. I'm glad that my pickup segment did not take 10 minutes this time. So you guys have a great rest of the show. I'll talk to all y'all later.
Right.
Peace.
See you, Max.
Enjoy Pokemon, man. Enjoy it.
Yeah, have fun.
So Shibby, I want to just say that Hollow Knight has piano music too, and let me tell you how non-therapeutic that game is.
Yeah, right.
It's a really hard game.
I'm
City
fixing
of
our
Tears,
names.
though, that song is just absolutely amazing.
What's that from? City of Tears?
I'm not there yet.
Oh,
I'm not there
in
yet, so I
Hollow
don't know
Knight.
what that song is.
Yeah.
Oh, the one. Never mind.
Okay, we got through everyone, and it's 10:15. Perfect. So we'll do closing comments. I don't think I got any comments on the forums. No, just nothing. All right, final thoughts. Any final hot takes? Ruin someone right now. I dare you to. If you've been holding anything back.
Horizon Zero Dawn is better than Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I knew that you were going to say that. I haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn, but
You know what? You're entitled to that opinion.
There's no piano music.
Burn.
On the...
That is
No, but
fair,
there's
but only one of them got Game of the Year.
That's true. That's
Only
true.
one of them. Only one of them got Game of the Year that year. That's all I'm saying.
Rigged.
Where was Cryo's hot take? He said he was coming in here with a hot take. Did I miss the hot take?
just he doesn't like.
I thought
Yeah, I thought me not liking open world games was going to be a hot take, but I guess not.
The whole cast, yeah, open world games are just okay.
Like, I mean, it depends.
It's totally normal to be wrong once in a while. I think.
I think the consensus is that if it's a good game, it doesn't matter if it's open world or not. If it's a bad game, it also
much.
doesn't matter if it's open world or not.
It just matters how they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the person, how much time they have, what kinds of games they like,
Exactly.
the build of the game.
Can you pet foxes?
Can you pet the fox?
Can you pet the foxes? Yeah.
If they don't let you pet the animals, it's an automatic 1 out of 10.
True.
I think a lot of it is like world too. Like Breath of the Wild is just like it's Zelda world, but it's also like kind of just normal fantasy, I guess. But look at something like a Horizon Zero Dawn where they have robotic dinosaurs. I mean, that's a totally different aesthetic too.
Yeah.
That's true. It's gonna get they get different groups of people interested in and they get hooked on it.
Yep.
I would say that people should just never give up on video games. Like I feel like a lot of people just are like, I don't like this kind of video game, I'm never trying it again.
Yeah.
But like every day they're like merging RPG with this and open world and it's there's new games every day. Try new games. Even if you play a game and you're just like you feel stressed about it, I've played plenty of open world games where I'm just like, I just don't feel this right now. I don't want to do it. So I'll sell the game and then I'm open to playing that game again in the future and giving it a try. Because I know my perspective and where I'm at in my life could just be adding extra stress to that situation and making that game suck,
Yeah.
This is where I'm with Russ. I gave up on Death Stranding. I didn't even touch it. I didn't even start it. I looked at it. I was like, I'm not playing this.
I at least got like 4 hours into it, but when you start walking and then you just fall over and drop everything, I'm like, I'm done. I can't.
That's what made it too stressful for me. I was watching people play it and they'd fall over. And I'm like, it's too stressful. I'm not.
The initial trailers look so cool. I was like, oh, is this gonna be like a scary game? Oh, is this gonna be like a military game? Oh, is this gonna be something? And then like the trailer dropped for gameplay, and I was like, oh, that's a little underwhelming.
I've heard.
I was super excited for it. I bought the big version with the big ass baby.
With the baby.
As you should have.
The baby's worth it, man. The
baby actually is worth it. I might eBay the baby alone by itself, and not even.
That's the value there.
If you don't have the baby on your mantle, what are you doing?
It's a creepy baby. It's locked in a closet now.
Man, you know what the funny thing is though? I'm like Keezus with Witcher 3. I've been trying to play the game for like 5 years as well. Now it's not the open world aspect that turns me off. I just can't get into the game. Like I think this quest I'm on is really stupid, and the controls. I hate how clunky he controls and stuff. But I'm with you on that. It is funny because dude, it came out and I got it for like the Xbox One. Then like a year or two later, somebody told me, dude, you don't like that game? Oh, you got to get the Xbox One X because you got to get the 60 frames. It makes the game so much better. It's less clunky. So I literally got an Xbox One X to play it, and I played it, and I couldn't get so into it. And then when it came on to half off on Switch, I was like, okay, this is the time. I'm all about Switch. Let's get it. And I got it. And I don't know what I was expecting. I was like, I can't get into this game. So I'm done trying.
Shibby went from like the best looking Witcher. He's like, oh yeah, I still can't get into it. He goes to the worst. He goes, well, now I can't play it because it's ugly.
No, with that game specifically, the thing that turned me off was horseback is cool. Riding on horses is cool in a game, but with that one, because it's done so slowly and you have to go to one point, back to a point you came from, then to go forward to the next point, I was like, I can't play this. Like, it's fine. I can't do this.
I just got overwhelmed with all the stories. Like, I would walk into a town and some other big story would happen. I'm like, no, dude, I've been working on this story over here. And then another story pops up. Like, I walk 10 feet and they're like meaningful, cool stories. And I'm just like, no, dude, I can't do all these stories at the same time. This makes no sense to me. I gotta get out of here.
This is shit on Witcher 3 hour. Witcher 3 is actually an amazing game.
It's a good game. It's an
amazing game. We're not shitting on it. It's just
like too much. It's like way too much fantastic.
I think that's why I avoided it.
First 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I get to that quest at the well, and I do it every time. And you get there, and they're like, "Search the well for the something mysterious." And I go and like, oh, you found a clue. Now go to the inside the well. I go inside the well. And like, no, go back up in the well. I go back up and like, look around the well. I'm like, just give me the quest. Like, show me where this wraith is so I can kill it. Quit being like, or at least give me a little marker on that. And I'm like, where is it? Like, so that's my little rant. Sorry.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima like is kind of witchery in a way, like where like you'll walk up and it'll be like, oh, there's bloody footprints. You inspect those and like you kind of follow them up the hill, but it's like, you know, maybe a minute or something that you're spending doing that. It's not like this big traversal of you know the place, and you get right to that story and get it done.
I'm stupid, and I'll own up to that. I'll own up to it.
No, I need to play. I bought Ghost of Tsushima, and I still need to play that. And
very good. At the beginning, I remember feeling like it felt like clunky with the combat, but that is definitely what they want from the beginning. Because you're just a samurai by the end of that game. Yeah. You feel so good.
They want you to feel that change in skill.
Yeah, I would say it's got like a decent pacing for its progression. You don't get instantly OP very fast, but like once you kind of get comfortable with the controls, like you start pulling off stuff and you're like, yeah,
exactly. You feel so cool, dude. I'm so into it. It's the same thing with like Dark Souls games for me, where like at the beginning I feel like crap, but like by the end I'm like, I am that character. I did all that stuff. It feels really good.
The beginning makes me feel so much like crap that I can't play it.
That's true. Like I bought Dark Souls 3, and that's why I say like people like keep an open mind to games in the future, because like I bought Dark Souls 3 and I'm like, this game is trash. This is the worst game I've ever played. I'm in the first boss in like the first 30 seconds of Dark Souls 3, and I just keep dying. And I'm like, I have no comprehension, and I sold it. I bought it again like several months later. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then I sold it again after that. And I watched somebody streaming it. And like the way that they talked about the game just unlocked it for me. And I was like, oh, like that's all I have to do? And boom, like I was in there. And there's so many little story bits and information in that game to tell you how to like beat the bosses. Like this boss is like allergic to fire. Well, I mean, most things are, but like, you know, it'll say that like on a helmet or something. And you're like, oh, I should have paid attention to this. Like I can take out this next boss like pretty easy by just throwing fire stuff at it. And like that's throughout the game. Like the game's way easier than you think.
Man, I feel you on that. BioShock took me a couple years to get into. I had to play some other, like I said with Skyrim too, I had to go back, play Fallout, and then go back to Skyrim, and now I get it. And just side note, isn't music kind of that same way? Like back when CDs used to be a thing, I'd buy a CD and like, this is trash, dude. What's with this? And then 3 years later, like, dude, that album was fire. That band was actually like, you know?
That's so true.
Yeah.
All right.
Books are probably the same way. I don't know. I don't read.
I have one last thing to say.
Yeah, I was going to give everyone one last.
Those in chat talking about sleeping on Hollow Knight. I'm with you. People for years have told me to play Hollow Knight. I'm like, no, it's not my kind of thing. So I'm with everyone that's like, I played it. Took some years to get back to it. Now I'm with everyone that's like, I'm only playing it for the book club. I feel you.
Oh,
it's tough.
It's a really tough game.
It is tough.
I got into Shovel Knight instead.
I actually mixed up the two for years.
I
know they're both kind of new.
Because Shovel Knight has DLCs that are also named Knight. So there's Plague Knight and then there's King Knight. And I thought Hollow Knight was just another. And then I saw the graphics and I was like, wait a minute.
This is something totally different.
Turn.
If you're listening, watching, anyone, we're all playing Hollow Knight. I think it's like $15 on Switch digitally. It's on Game Pass, so you don't even have to. If you have Game Pass, just play it. But then the February 17th is the book club episode, and we will be the episode before that. So on the 10th, we will be announcing the nominations to vote for the next book club game, and then so don't miss the 10th and the 17th. Those are the two back-to-back book club games for Hollow Knight, and when we reveal the winners for next month, or the winner, one game a month. All right, last words. Speak now or forever hold your peace, and I will hold you to it. And then we're wrapping up and ending the episode. Russ, go. If you don't have any, you can pass. Yeah, just actually here. Actually, I'll just open it up. Anyone have any last statements? We have 2 minutes, and then we're wrapping.
Play Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
Play Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay, and the first one, because they're very good games.
Forbidden West, is that the new one?
Yeah, Forbidden West.
Yeah.
I have a friend in the Discord that worked on it, and he is just super passionate about it, and I believe it's going to be a fantastic video game. And also, maybe I'll nominate Witcher 3 next month. Maybe that'll be the next.
Don't do that to Ty. Don't do that to Ty.
Seems like the winner here.
I've only beat 2 out of the 6 games so far, and I'm not feeling very confident with Hollow Knight at this point.
None of us are. If I were to replay Witcher 2, I don't even need to replay it. I never beat it in the first place.
Yeah, don't do that. I will. I mean, now we're voting on them, so you can nominate whatever you want. I would be surprised. Although there were the games that got the most votes were the longest games this month.
No. If this was a yearly book club, we could do it.
I tried to nominate Journey. That game's like only an hour or two.
Yeah.
And they got the lowest votes. I'm like, all right,
all the short ones.
To spend a lot of time.
Anyone want to just drop a bomb right before we? I mean, not physically, but before we wrap it. I don't have any.
I just hope that the new Breath of the Wild game has more meaningful side quests and a little more to do. That's all I'm gonna say.
I hope that they can live up to anything. I think it's going to get destroyed on, you're going to see Twitter explode where it's compared to the original Breath of the Wild. People are going to be hating on it like crazy. I guarantee you that's going to happen. Because Breath of the Wild is such like a zeitgeist it's like this god of a game up there in the sky that even, like people remember it probably even better than it was when they played it. And I've played it a few times now, and it's like not as good the second time, but it's still really good. But how do you live up to that? Like, how do you make another game? Clearly, they have a lot of different mechanics and stuff happening. But man, how do you live up to that? I have no idea. I think it's going to get trashed. It's going to be a good game, though.
You never know. So next Thursday, I was supposed to pick a topic for next Thursday because I was trying to get out ahead of it, but I don't have a topic.
Pokemon?
We could do a Pokemon episode. That's maybe.
Or for Skriller, we should do why Breath of the Wild's a bad game.
A Breath of the Wild hate episode.
Good as people say.
I'll put it up on my Twitter and Instagram what the next week's episode. But yeah,
you could always just have me and Max debate why
Last of Us 2. Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. I was like, hey, Max is the center of controversy here. He dislikes Last of Us 2, but you love it, and then he loves Death Stranding, and Rush, you hate Death Stranding. That's what I was trying to figure out who was what in those two debates. I'm excited for Kirby. The last of Kirby, us too.
I don't know enough about it.
Although the new trailer, it doesn't look as it's a
platformer.
Yeah,
as
it's
3D?
like, but it's 3D.
And
there's
it's
co-op.
probably more. It's probably more or less
like Odyssey, maybe.
Yeah, I would say more or less like Super Mario Odyssey, just with Kirby.
I was thinking like Super Mario 3D World. We lost Shibby's video. He's back. So I was thinking it was going to be more like Super Mario 3D World.
It could.
Than Odyssey, based on the viewpoint. It has that 3D World angle, and
Mario 3D World.
Yeah, nailed it. All right, let's head out. Thank you, Russ, Cryoweasel on Twitch, Sky Discard on YouTube, Akizis _ you're on Twitch
on Twitch and YouTube.
Shibby 120 on Twitch and YouTube. Also, Brittany Skrillerwolf on Twitch and also YouTube. You have a new video coming out next week. I saw you say that. Toaster Dog Chris on Twitch. Toast, when are you streaming next? You don't know.
when I get around to it.
You did a long
for
Hollow
the
Knight.
first time in like 6 months a few days ago.
Yeah, I saw.
That was my longest
lurking
stream
that.
ever too. It was
Really?
like 4 hours and 15 minutes.
I was listening and lurking most of it, and I was lurking the whole time, but I was listening most to it. I just didn't want to.
I heard Toast's gonna stream Breath of the Wild.
I heard that too.
I did. I can't believe I beat Breath of the Wild before you beat Breath of the Wild.
Well, if we stop nominating like 30-hour games for book
Yeah,
club, maybe
let's
I'll
do. Can we agree to all vote on what it's like a 5-hour game?
Have you guys done
I've been
Sayonara Wild
nominating
Hearts
one
yet?
that's like 3 hours.
I almost voted.
Yes.
I almost nominated Sayonara Wild Hearts, and also
That's a great pick. That's very good.
What Remains of Edith Finch is a good one too. That's a good game. I want to nominate both of those, but I usually only nominate like 5-hour games because I don't want to do anything.
Can we go up to 8?
Yeah. That's fine.
Because like Beyond Two Souls and games like that are at least.
I think those
8.
are good. Those are good. As long as there's an easy way to play them, like without having to bust out a PS3. But I think all my PS3s are broken right now. All right, we're out. Be sure to follow everyone. Check the links in the bio. We'll be back next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you subscribe wherever you would like. Thank you to all of you guys. It's always a pleasure to have you on. What a great episode we had tonight. Good talk. And I think I'm going to keep doing these pre-shows, so we'll do some fun games leading up to the episode. If you're on Twitch, we are going to raid out. I need to figure out who to raid. We'll raid out. So after the credits, hang tight. We'll raid out. Thanks again. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.